Some landlords think that providing appliances is a bad idea, but I've been doing it for over 20 years and it's been a very savvy strategy for me. It produces a lot of extra income and it decreases my headaches substantially. Some of the pushback I hear from landlords at the apartment association is their fear of additional costs, repair costs, liability, that the tenants should bring their own. But actually, if you provide those appliances, you're gonna get better quality tenants. Tenants expect appliances. They don't want to hassle. So if you want to make it easy for people to move in, just picture this. You have to move into an apartment. You're on the second or the third floor, or even on the first floor. And you have to move in a fridge, a stove, washer and dryer. That's not easy. Sometimes you have to take the door jambs off. Sometimes the doors aren't wide enough, or the hallways. So you have to take the doors off the appliances. You have to take the appliances apart. It's not easy. I've done it multiple times. And even when you try your hardest, you sometimes damage the floors, the door jambs. It's just a big hassle. So most tenants, if you provide the appliances, they're gonna be very happy. You're gonna attract much better quality tenants. Another reason is reduce vacancies. When I have appliances and I'm showing the unit, oftentimes I'll hear the tenant say, "Oh God, I'm so glad you have appliances." They'll be so relieved because they're already thinking about moving their old appliances or having to go buy new ones. It's just a big hassle. So it actually widens my net. I have a lot more people to choose from and I have less vacancies, because sometimes even when tenants are trying to move, they're looking around and they say, I gotta buy appliance, I gotta buy fridge, I gotta buy microwave, I gotta buy washer, I gotta buy dryer, and they start thinking, wait a minute, that's like $5,000 sometimes or more. And I don't wanna spend all that money. You know what? That's too much work. I'm just gonna stay where I'm at. I'll just suck it up. So you actually keep people in your units longer. So it's much more effective if you're looking at a long-term strategy for renting. The extra $1,000 or $2,000 that I might spend on appliances is going to be made up very easily in decreased vacancy and extended lease terms with my current tenants. Another reason is I attract better quality tenants. When I have all my appliances ready to go, I attract better quality professionals. People that don't want to hassle, they just want a turnkey place to move in and go to work and live their life. When you don't have appliances, you tend to attract people that are short-term renters or people that are high drama. Now, another thing is that when you provide appliances, you actually get the idea of standardization and you have some leverage and control over it. Let me explain. I bought a fridge for my mom. She wanted the fridge that had all the bells and whistles. It was like $3,000. It was great. Then we had a power outage. Okay, in the city of Los Angeles alone, last year I checked, we had over 1,000 power outages. You might say, I don't remember that. Yeah, that's because most of them are a few seconds. They happen throughout the night, during the day, and most of the time you're not home, you might not even notice it. And sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I'll see my clocks beeping, my microwave, my stove. It's because I know those are power outages. They happen all the time. And if they're short a few seconds, you might not even notice it. Some of your appliances won't reset that quickly. But in this case, it set off actually for like 2 days, if you could believe that. In California, the electricity was off for 2 days. So what happened? It fried my mom's motherboard. When the power came on, I tried to turn this new fridge on and it wouldn't work. So I called the company, called the repairman, $1,500 to repair this motherboard. Never again. For $1,500, I bought my mom a regular fridge with no bells and whistles, beautiful, and no issues. So when I buy my refrigerators, tip number one, don't buy anything that is digital unless it's a microwave. You have no choice. But everything else, washers and dryers, I use dials. Refrigerators, even if they have an ice maker, I don't plug it in. Ice makers are a pain because they get clogged very often. Stoves, same thing, nothing digital, just a plain old stove you turn on and off. Keeps it simple. One of the issues I have often with fridges, and I recommend this when you do your inspections, open the refrigerator and see if the tenant has it overstuffed or if there's ice in there. The way refrigerators work is they create most of the cooling up in the freezer section and then it circulates down into the refrigerator. When you have a refrigerator that's packed in with frozen vegetables and whatever else they buy, the air doesn't circulate. So it actually makes the engine work harder and it burns out the refrigerator faster. So make sure if you see that, have them unplug it for a few hours. It's not gonna hurt their food. They can move their food down to the fridge and then unplug it and just leave the door open so to defrost. That happens regardless on smaller refrigerators. Those almost always have to be unplugged every few months so that ice can get off. You know, when you open refrigerators, you see all that ice. That's not good. The ice expands, it can break the frame or the plastic lining inside the refrigerator, but most importantly, it clogs the vents that circulates the cold. So again, it burns out your motor. So what brand do I buy? Maytag, always Maytag. It's just the industry standard. It's the best, it's the most reliable. If you start going into Samsung, LG, or whatever, all these other brands, they have too many digital buttons, they're gonna break, and they're just not as reliable. Plain and simple. I've had some Maytag refrigerators going for over 10 years. I've never had to do any repairs. I buy washers, dryers, everything Maytag. Sometimes I buy, you know, in the past I bought Whirlpool or maybe like Kenmore, but Kenmore is not really around anymore, from Sears, but that's Maytag. So keep it simple, no digital stuff. Don't connect the ice makers, even if it has it. Another reason I buy Maytag is because it's readily available. Pretty much everywhere in the world, but mostly here in the US. Parts are easy to get, it's easy to repair. Most of the repairmen are familiar with it, they can fix it pretty easy. And because I don't buy digital ones, it's usually they come in, they swap out a part, you're done. If you have a bunch of digital stuff, and that, again, you have to know about computers, you have to have a lot more training. And most of the repair guys that I hire are not familiar with that. So I have to end up calling Maytag or, you know, the big company, and they have to send somebody out, and that's really expensive. I also typically try to buy the same models for all of my units. You know, obviously over time, the models are not available, but I try to keep the most basic and the same models, just so that if I need to, I can just swap them out real easy. And if I have an extra, sometimes I keep an extra, I can just swap that out while I send the other one to get repaired. It's just much easier. Now, what about tenants that want to bring their own appliances? Okay, I have my own appliances. So when I want to rent and tenants say, hey, why I have my own fridge, I have my own this, I want to bring that in, I say no, flat out. I'm not even going to deal with that because I'm going to have to hassle hiring some guys to move those appliances out, which is probably going to damage the door jambs, the floors, etc. I might have to remove the doors. Then the tenant has to go through the same thing. It's just too much hassle, too much liability. So let's say you let some tenants bring their own fridge and their own stove, and in California, where I live, we have to provide those two appliances. Now their fridge goes out and they have a $3,000 digital fridge. You, the landlord, are responsible for fixing it. So I don't want to get into that. It might be a trap. It could be an old fridge, an old stove that needs repairs. I don't want to fix someone else's appliances. I'd rather have my own that I know work really well. I take care of them, I maintain them, and I know that I'm not going to be enduring additional costs at someone else's benefit. So if they offer to bring their own appliances, decline, don't even go there, too much trouble. Another issue is liability. They might have frayed wires, you can have fires, they might have leaks. I have these tenants that even though I provide air conditioners, if there isn't central air, I put a window air conditioner in. Air conditioners last years and years. I have tenants that abuse them, leave them 24 hours a day. They go on vacation for 2 weeks and leave the AC on. It's terrible for the environment. I don't like it, but it is what it is. I can't stop them. These particular tenants went and bought a portable AC unit. The worst thing you could use. They plugged it in, they didn't put a pan underneath, and it was an old damaged unit, and it was creating a lot of condensation. They went on vacation and leaked 2 floors, did thousands of dollars of damage to the property and to the other tenants' property, their electronics and stuff. So it's better if you just provide a window AC. I did have window AC units in this particular unit, but these tenants decided they wanted to have 2 ACs in 1 bedroom. I'm not sure why, but that's what they did. And those are things, variables that you can't control for, but you can reduce them by providing appliances. That way you don't have people bringing in equipment that might be damaged, it might burn your unit or flood it or, you know, cause other problems. And then you're going to be on the hook for it. Those tenants that got their property damaged before, luckily I make everybody buy renter's insurance, so they took care of it. But if they didn't have their renter's insurance, you know they're going to come after me as the manager or the landlord of the unit. And that's what you want to try to avoid by providing your own reliable appliances. Now, this is one of the great opportunities you have when you provide appliances, a rent premium. I charge more because I have appliances. Now, a lot of landlords will say, well, don't provide washer and dryer, even if you apply the other ones. Now, I provide washer and dryer. I'll tell you why. Washer and dryers are awesome. Once tenants see washer and dryers, they go, oh my God, thanks. I spend $70 or more a month going to the laundromat. That's what I hear from tenants. So I easily charge an extra $100 or more a month per unit when I have all the appliances, including washer and dryer. Now, to be honest, that is the appliance that gives me the most issues. Oftentimes, the tenants will not clean out their pockets. They'll throw pieces of paper, dental floss, whatever in their pockets, and it comes out during the wash. It damages the pump of the washer. Now, they do go out maybe every 1 or 2 years. The repairman comes out, fixes it. It's usually about $200-300. Not that much money, but I'm charging $100 to $200 extra a month in rent. So I'm making $1,200 to $2,400 a year extra. So sure, I might have to fix it every once in a while. And when I say fix it, I mean pick up the phone and maybe send a text. It maybe takes me 30 seconds. The repairman comes out, I facilitate the visit with the tenant. They come over, they fix it, end the story, no big deal. But again, it widens the pool, I get better quality tenants, and I charge a premium on my rent. So definitely I provide washers and dryers. If the unit is not built for it, I'll get permits, I'll install a washer and dryer hookup. So I can provide it because it's such a moneymaker for me. Aside from solar panels, which actually makes me the most additional revenue, washer and dryers are probably my 6th biggest add-on for making money on rents. When you're renting your apartment, I want you to think about it like when you go to McDonald's. Look at McDonald's. They're the best at everything, basically. Not necessarily the quality of the food, but they're the way they do things. You order a sandwich, they're not gonna let you leave there with just a sandwich. They're gonna do add-on sales. Do you want a soda? Do you want fries? Do you want a supersize? Do you want an apple pie? So when you think of your property, think of it the same thing. This is a business. You want to generate more income, and you also want to make the tenants happy. You want to give them things that give them a better quality of life. And appliances, washer and dryer, I mean, that's awesome. Who wants to go to a laundromat and sit there for hours washing clothes? Total waste of time. Tenants will always pay a premium for washers and dryers. Some of the pushback I hear from landlords is, well, if I install appliances, they're going to break them. Well, I always say, well, it's cheaper than vacancies. Or they'll say, they're gonna steal my appliances. You know what? In over 20 years of managing units, I have never had someone steal my appliances. Now, I'm sure it does happen because I know that there's some really unsavory characters out there that will do just about anything, okay? And I can talk about that all day, but one thing I've never had is someone steal appliances. Yes, they'll steal my curtains, my curtain rods, my shower curtains. Whatever is easy to steal, yeah, they'll steal it. Not always, but there are people that will take it. But appliances, that takes a lot of planning and work. Let's say you want to steal a fridge. You got to call some people to help you steal it. You got to move it. Like I said, sometimes you have to remove the doors off the appliance. You have to rent a truck to load it up. It's just too much work. So even people that are really problematic, that trash my place or didn't pay their rent, did all sorts of things, they didn't steal the appliances. It's just too much work. So that's not a valid argument in my opinion. Now, what appliances should you provide? Okay, in some states like California, you have to provide a fridge and a stove. I think that's a very good idea. I provide a microwave, usually a digital one that connects above the stove, a washer, a dryer, and if there's no AC, I put window AC units. Why? Because not only, as I mentioned before, liability issues, they might bring poor quality appliances, but there's also the issue of overloading and burning my circuits. I had these people that came in when I didn't provide window ACs. They bought this huge window AC, it was like for a whole house. And they put it in the bedroom, they plugged it in, they plugged in their laptop, they plugged in all these other appliances, and they burned out a bunch of my electrical system. So I ended up having to do a lot of repairs. It cost a lot of money. Now, if I had just installed an AC unit, I would have put one that was sized appropriately, that's not gonna waste energy, burn out my electrical system, or damage my outlets, okay? Another common one, when I didn't provide microwaves, I'd have people go in the kitchen, they'd put a power strip, and that same outlet, they plug in a microwave, a blender, a coffee maker, and then they try to run all three at the same time. Of course, it's gonna blow out the electrical system, it's gonna burn the outlet over time, or it might just make the circuit break every time. And then they're calling me and texting me, oh, this place is horrible, this place doesn't work, the AC doesn't work, the microwave doesn't work, it keeps jumping. Yeah, because you're overloading. Remember, a lot of people are not real savvy with electrical systems, so they're not gonna know that. So I just take the guesswork out. I don't want hassle. I put my own microwave in above the stove, and when I wire it, I put it on its own circuit. That way it doesn't jump. Microwaves use a lot of electricity when they're turned on. So if you plug it in with a toaster or something else, your circuit's gonna jump. If you keep doing that over time, you're gonna burn out your outlet. You might even damage some of those wires. You can even cause an electrical fire. A lot of stuff can happen. So by installing the appliances and plugging them in where they're supposed to be plugged in, I avoid all of that. Now, in the apartment, if you get all those things and plug them into a single outlet, you're gonna have those problems. Even if you're at a 5-star, building. It's just the way the electrical works. But if you control the environment, plug your own appliances, you're gonna avoid all that. You're gonna avoid damage to your property. Now, some tips to protect yourself. In my lease, I always put clauses so that way if the tenants damage, or let's say they do take my appliances, I can take it out of their deposit. Okay, and that way they're liable for it. I always take pictures of them, especially if I have stainless steel appliances, which I'm in the process of. Over time, I'm gonna start transitioning to plain white appliances. I used to buy all stainless steel, the tenants love it, but I noticed I started doing a few units in all white, and because my kitchens are all white, it doesn't make that much of a difference. The tenants still like it, and the appliances are much more affordable. So I'm switching again to all I always use Maytag, only Maytag, and I'm starting to switch to white. It's just cheaper than stainless steel, and the doors don't ding. When you get stainless steel appliances, the doors and the fridges and the stoves, they ding a lot easier. It's a lot more noticeable. So I notice when I get all white, or even all black for that matter, as long as it's consistent in your whole kitchen, it looks just fine. It's not gonna make a difference. So again, providing appliances is just good business. You're gonna have better tenants, you're gonna increase your return on investment, and you're gonna have, more importantly, less headaches. So thank you for listening. And from Los Angeles, California, this is Dr. Ernesto. Thank you. Goodbye.